So many graphics.
Border, all hands man your battle stations.
Broadcasting live on the UnitedWest.org AM radio network and simulcasting on DirecTV, iHeartRadio, Roku, and the World Wide Web, this is Enemies of the State with Tom Trento.
We are live.
Are we on?
Yes, we're on.
All right, I'm almost done. I'm multitasking. Damon, you wanted the egg rolls with the Fu Manchu sauce, right? I almost got this down.
Beef egg foo young.
Egg foo young, yes, we got that
Pork
right
lo
here.
mein.
Okay.
Send. How do you
And
send
an
this
egg
thing?
roll.
Send.
Okay, send. Come on.
I'm actually working on our topic of the day. Tom Trento here, 4:06 on the East Coast. If we were in Israel, it would be 11:06 at night for our friends in Israel watching the show right now. Fabulous 2 weeks. If you want to sign up, we're going to do this again in about 6 months.
What?
To the
What? Whoa, what's this? 6 months we're going to do what?
back. We're going back. We got
In
so many
6
people.
months?
We got so many people that want to go. We're going back. So save your shekels, 4 to 1.
I'm still recovering from this.
$1 is 4 shekels. And to give you a frame of reference to our listening and viewing audiences on the UnitedWest.org, WSBR Radio, 740 AM. To give you a frame of reference, a Carlsberg 20-ounce beer is how many shekels?
14.
14 shekels.
So U.S., that's what, about $3?
$3.50. Best deal in Tel Aviv.
I actually find it cheaper for like 12. I found around the street for 12. Actually.
That's how we calculate shekels by 20-ounce Carlsberg, but they're low alcohol content, especially that Analyst stuff. Don't drink that stuff. All right, what a series we have. Today's our final show, and the event has been going on in Washington, D.C., the Muslim Brotherhood Advocacy Day. Now, you may not see in the Muslim organizations, their published literature, you may not see Muslim Brotherhood Advocacy Day. They kind of downplay that after the Muslim Brotherhood has been banned as political organizations and identified as terrorist organizations by many countries around the world, and we're working on maybe even doing that here in the United States of America. But mark our words, and if you watched our 4 previous shows, this is the culminating one, you know that the individuals that organized, participated, and made all of this happen over the past 2 days in Washington and on our show for the past 4 shows are Muslim Brotherhood members. Now, but Tom, how do you know? Well, go watch our previous 4 shows and we lay it all out. And we'll tell you, we have sat down with many of these people, talked to them, and they deny anything about the Muslim Brotherhood and all of that. But that's okay. That's their job. They're doing, and you should know by now, an influence operation means they lie. They're trying to influence you in a direction you really don't want to go if you knew what was going on. That's our job. Our job is to tell you what's really going on, and we do that by bringing in special subject matter experts. And we have a great one today, our culminating day. Good friend of the show, good friend of national security, none other than, let's bring him right in, none other than Ryan Mauro.
All
Right. Are you going to go to the wall, Tom?
There he is. I'm going to go to the wall. I'm going to go to the wall.
Well, I got him up. He's saying hi right
All
now.
right.
Man, that was the quickest intro you've done.
I can
really.
walk to the wall of the
Walk
West.
to the wall and talk to him.
Well,
If I had him up on the wall, that'd be good.
He's not. Is he on the wall? No, he's not.
He's on the wall.
All right, Tom Trento here while we're sorting out that.
On the wall.
It is 9 minutes after WSBR Radio, and in Tampa,
10 WHFS, and to our terrorist friends, Hassan Shibli and Ahmed Badir. Hey,
Assalamualaikum.
You know, look, we were identifying Hassan Shibli, the head of CARE Florida, Nihad Awad, all of these guys as terrorists about 2 years ago, because in terms of the academic, philosophical, logical, geopolitical constructs of defining terrorism and terrorists, if you enable, support, agree, and affirm particular principles, you are functioning de facto as a terrorist. Well, on November 2014, the United Arab Emirates, and you know this very well, Ryan, the United Arab Emirates did what? And what was the significance of what the UAE did regarding a bunch of groups, in particular this one group, CARE?
Well, what the UAE did, which is a Muslim government that previously was friendly with CARE, they realized that the Muslim Brotherhood is bad and needs to be banned. But instead of doing what Egypt did by banning the Brotherhood only, they decided to send a message, which was they also designated as terrorist entities major Muslim Brotherhood connected groups in Europe and in the United States, including CARE, MAS, the Muslim American Society, and Islamic Relief Worldwide, which operates internationally. And then when the blowback happened, senior UAE officials said, that's the problem. That blowback is exactly what the problem is because it shows the Muslim Brotherhood lobby's influence.
And for our viewing audience, our listening audience that may be new to this, and we're bringing new people in from all over the world on our show, and we're thankful for all of you. Keep sharing it, liking it when we put it out on Facebook, our emails. Get people watching this because we give you the drilled down truth and a little bit of razzmatazz. Right, Imam Abdullah?
We love that razzmatazz here.
We love all of that. How have you been, Abdullah? I haven't really spoken to you
Well,
much
Tom,
lately.
I miss you very much when you're in the at Al Quds. I miss you very much. I watch you on the Facebook updates. Make me very miss you very much and miss Al Quds. I wish I was there with you, but I had some passport issues.
Yes, you had some passport issues.
You can't get past the port.
You really
It's
can't
like-
leave the United States right now, right?
No, I am like Anjem Chowdhury. I cannot go anywhere.
Can I walk over there for a second, Mark? I gotta
You
get
can do whatever you want. I'm
Okay.
just not going to follow you.
Well, Abdullah, there's a very simple way that we can sum up our whole 5-part series.
Yes.
And it's visualized with this little thing right here.
Oh,
Okay?
yes.
What is
You
that?
see this?
Yes.
This is what law enforcement uses when they find a perp and they want to take the perp and bring him somewhere else.
Yes.
We should have titled our series "The Ziploc Deportation of the Muslim Brotherhood."
Zip tie,
Series.
zip tie.
Operation Zip Tie.
Operation Zip Tie. This is how you solve the problem, everybody. Forget about all this nonsense with the Brotherhood. Zip these characters up, send them back to where they came from. Case closed. Okay? Put
Yeah.
that over there. But instead, we'll do the academic thing with
Yeah, we'll
Ryan
do the
Mauro,
hard
who's
way.
got a pretty nice
But
camera
before
there.
you do that, I just want to point out, I love how it looks like my head is the size of your entire body right now. While you were talking, I was trying to flick you away.
I can go after your head, Ryan. It's the magic of television. What can I tell you?
Man, the radio audience really misses
they're
out on
They're
this
missing
show.
out,
They
yes,
really are.
we call this the Great Wall of the West, and we want people to be much larger than I am.
That's
We
right.
want
Make
the
'em feel
guests to
important.
be domineering and dominant and strong. Okay, so that's why we have you there. Look, here's the situation. For the past 4 days now, 4 shows, we have been doing an exposition, an expose on the Muslim Brotherhood, particularly this organization, United States Council of Muslim Organizations. Actually, it's not the United States. I haven't seen them use that word. They use U.S. Council on Muslim Organizations. And in particular today, which is the 14th of April, it is Palestine Day at the United States Capitol. So what we're going to do with you, Ryan, you did a phenomenal last week, a phenomenal report on a meeting that took place it was supposed to take place on 9/11/2001. And we're showing our folks how what occurred 14 years ago is still occurring today on Capitol Hill, culminating with Palestine Day at the U.S. Capitol, with the overriding objective being to regain Al-Quds, regain Jerusalem, push the Jews from the river to the sea, reestablish the caliphate in Israel. Sounds like a movie, a bad Hollywood movie, but let's walk through very carefully the report you did for Clarion. You work for Clarion. Tell us a little bit about Clarion.
Yes, ClarionProject.org studies Islamic extremism, and so we report on this daily. And really, the very brief background that you need in order to understand the significance of this is, yes, obviously the Muslim Brotherhood set up all these organizations in the U.S. to influence policy, but the FBI also wiretapped a group of the leaders in 1993 where they talked about modifying their language so it would be more suitable for an American audience, so they could push policies leading to what you just mentioned, which is the destruction of Israel. Sometimes when they're advocating a policy, it's not, oh, I want to destroy Israel. It's advocating policies that will make it easier to make that happen and advance the Islamist cause.
Very, very, very important point, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of the influence operation that the Islamic jihadis, in particular the Muslim Brotherhood now, has implemented in the United States Congress yesterday the 13th, today the 14th, this is process. You see, if the United States, the great Satan, was eliminated from the global stage, Israel would be surrounded, and God only knows what would happen if there was an intensive effort to take Israel out without the assistance of the United States. It would be apocalyptic, to say the least. But our big idea for this whole series, the process is going to the United States Congress to weaken the counterterrorism infrastructure. The ultimate goal is gaining control of Israel. It's eschatological for Islam. Let's walk through some geopolitical dates. Take us back to September 11th, 2001.
Sure. Just two quick quotes, also just to illustrate your point, because I think it's very powerful. At that 1993 meeting where the FBI wiretapped these Muslim Brotherhood leaders, some of which are part of this effort that you've been exposing this week, they actually said, we believe that if our policy influence operation here in the U.S. fails, we fail everywhere, that this is the most important one. And Samuel Arian, in his indictment, who was a Palestinian Islamic Jihad terrorist that rallied together different organizations, including ones connected to the Republican Party for his cause, the indictment says he did seek to obtain support from influential individuals in the United States under the guise of promoting and protecting Arab rights. So you need to understand the language that's being used. Now, as for what was going to happen on 9/11, these...
Wait, hang on for 1 second, Ryan, hang on. On that 93 meeting, and ladies and gentlemen, a meeting took place in Philadelphia at the Marriott Courtyard Hotel, 1993, about 23 people. You've done a lot of work on this.
There was a bunch of people there, and it's about 23, 24 people. It was all organized.
Half of them are in jail now.
Musa Abu Marzouk, who is the head deputy chief of Hamas right now, and it's the foundation of CARE. What it was is the Islamic Association for Palestine. Musa Abu Marzouk got them all together, put them in a room, all Muslim dirtbags from all over the world, put them in there, and they formed CARE. And the FBI recorded the wiretap, and it was one of the things they recorded was that they were talking about a meeting about Sister Sama. And if you look at Sama, it's spelled backward.
Yeah, well, don't. I wanted to lead into this, but don't give away what we're going to do.
No.
Read this.
And what it was.
Take a look at this, Ryan.
And this was a gist of the meeting, okay? And you look at this, my brothers, this talk is to be considered, God willing, there is a remark now, please do not mention the name Sama, which is Hamas, in an explicit manner. We agree on saying that it has Sister Sama, Sister Hamas. We will talk about her honor and her session. The whole meeting was about the Oslo Accords and response to the Oslo Accords and Hamas, because they were all upset that the Oslo Accords, so they needed to do a U.S. operation to actually counter the Oslo Accords, and that's where CARE came from. And that's what the
CARE
FBI
eventually grew out of this, but
Right.
the point for this Philadelphia meeting, other than the points Ryan is making, point we're going to bring in a little bit, is they wanted a code word for the Hamas. So what did they do, Ryan? How tricky are these guys?
They very stupidly just made it backwards so it was Sama. But what's funny is that the FBI knows that, and in that same statement where they say this is the code word we're going to use, they're acknowledging it's to disguise Hamas. So what good is your code word if in the same paragraph you're saying this is a code word for what Hamas?
I don't know. But we're going to bring something out with the Hamas backward name, a little serendipitous point later on that we found very amusing to say the least. But let's get into the September 11th proposed meeting 2001.
Right, so I outlined the background and the terminology that they were using in order to get political influence. These organizations and a coalition, including CARE, endorse the Bush presidential campaign. They donate to it. And basically what their line is that we don't like the Clinton administration. We're socially conservative. You can win us over as a voting bloc. And that was able to really entice the Republican Party to adopt some of their positions. And from that endorsement, in which they said openly that, look, Bush is giving us high-level access, adopting our positions, it culminates in this very ironic mega meeting of Islamists on September 11th, 2001, of all days, with President Bush. He was going to fly from Florida up to D.C. Just for this meeting, and it was that powerful. And one of the individuals that was involved in arranging those relationships and choosing these specific Muslim groups as the liaisons for the Bush campaign were linked to convicted terrorists, the Muslim Brotherhood, and Grover Norquist.
Who?
Grover Norquist, called the most influential Republican in the country, for good reason.
Did you
He's
say
an
Grover
anti-tax-
Norquist?
Yes.
All right, well,
The
we have
anti-tax
done
activist.
extensive work on exposing Grover Norquist as an agent of influence for the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America. We did a series last year, actually, 10 or 11-part series entitled "The Wizard of K Street." K Street being the lobby street in Washington, very powerful place. And let's take a step back, Ryan, for our viewers and listeners at 21 minutes after. Ryan did this amazing article, and where can they find it? Where can they find it to read it right now if they want to go look at it?
They can go to clarionproject.org, and they can just search for it, just type in Norquist, and maybe you'll send it out in your newsletter.
Right.
Maybe we'll do that.
And just to reiterate the point where he was talking, just to prove that even though they have video of it, the Islamic Institute set this up under Khalid Safari, and here's a document for that, which was that they actually issued in their weekly briefs. And
hold that document right now. Okay. I want to work into that document.
No, it's another document. It's another document altogether.
In terms of establishing the quarterback, if you will, for our viewers and listeners 22 minutes after, Grover Norquist. He's fundamental to the Muslim Brotherhood influence operation in America. He was a key. Could you, on solid ground, say Grover Norquist through his organization? What was the name of his organization in 2001?
Most people don't even know that he had his own Islamic organization, but it's called the Islamic Free Market Institute. And we know from all sorts of reporting, it was widely known, that he was making the generic introductions and relationships with these Muslim Brotherhood groups.
All right, here we have a picture of Grover, screen right. He's on the right side of your screen. And who's that guy on the left over there?
Suhail Khan.
Yes,
Suhail Khan. Oh, man. We only have an hour for this show right now. But are you on firm, logical, factual ground saying that Grover Norquist organized a meeting of some seriously bad Muslims to meet with President Bush on September 11, 2001?
I want to be as precise as possible. So what we can say based on the reporting is that this organization of Norquist and Norquist himself arranged the relationships. Did he organize this meeting? We don't know, but when you look at the guest list, first of all, 14 of the 16 have ties to the Muslim Brotherhood network that were supposed to meet with President Bush. But 3 of those attendees came from Norquist's organization. 3 of the 7 White House officials that would join Bush were from Norquist's organization. So you see, on the inside, Norquist's buddies from his Islamic group being involved in organizing and attending the meeting, and then also on the outside with guys from his group going to the meeting as attendees.
All right, now, Mark, you have a document that may flesh this out a little more? You underlined
you talk about the other document.
Yeah, the Friday brief for the Islamic Free Market Institute. You have that one up?
You talk about there's 2 of them. There's one for...
It's dated October 13, 2000.
Okay, yeah, I'll bring that one up.
Yeah, let's let Ryan take a look at this. You may have seen this document, and when you read it, and what we're doing, folks, we're doing deductive reasoning here. We're deducing from known facts a most reasonable conclusion. And if it quacks like a duck, if it flies like a duck, if it walks like a duck, then Grover Norquist was a central figure in bringing these Muslim Brotherhood individuals together to meet with Bush with the intent purpose of influencing the Republican Party at a higher level. This is what you do.
This is the Friday from October 13th. This was the Friday briefing, their weekly briefing docs. And what it is they're telling what's happened this week and what we're going to plan for the future events. And the future event that they had planned for this was the march and rally in Washington, D.C. against Israel aggression. And for our radio audience, I'll read it. It says, on October 23, 2000, there will be a march and rally in the front of the White House, Washington, D.C., to protect Israel's aggression against...
To protest
Israel's aggression against the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the Dome of the Rock area, and the escalating use of violence towards the Palestinian people.
And today's Palestinian Day right now in Washington. And this is 14 years ago. Go ahead, keep going.
It says, the march and rally are being organized by the National Task Force for the Crisis in Jerusalem, NTFJC, a coalition of national American Muslim organizations of which the Islamic Institute, Grover's organization he founded, is a part.
And this is in Grover's, he produced this briefing, right? That
Yeah,
piece of paper
I have it zoomed in. If I zoom it out, you can see that the actual briefing is from the Islamic Institute.
Now, look at the bottom part of this, Ryan. Give us your thoughts on the bottom part of this brief, which is 14 years old.
All right. It is highly important that the Muslim community in the U.S. demonstrate a show of solidarity by attending this event. A strong presence will emphasize the call of American Muslims for peace and justice in Jerusalem and Palestine. Buses are being chartered nationwide to bring supporters to Washington, D.C.
Just like today.
Palestine
Day. Go ahead.
They're organizing this. They're organizing this whole event. They're getting buses. For further information, contact the Islamic Institute, Grover Norquist.
What?
For further information, they are the primary contact for this whole event.
Hold it. Let me go to Ryan, the expert. Is it reasonable to conclude, Ryan, that when the document says, if you want more information, contact us, that they have something to do with the organization of it?
Yes, but it's much more than that because his own organization produced this,
Right.
and it's listed as the contact, and is a member of this coalition that's not just engaging in this activity, but also many others, and he remains a part of that coalition. But I think listeners need to understand why this is so important, because this was brought up on by Glenn Beck,
I actually have that
and
clip.
Grover's response was, I had an intern that just kind of signed a statement without my permission, as if it was like a petition or something.
Right.
Can we play
And
that?
this
Do you have
document
that?
shows
I
that
have
that
the
really
clip.
is a lie. I mean,
Yeah, I actually have the clip.
You were on Glenn Beck about a week or so ago. Hang on. We're going to play that particular clip. We're tying all of this together at 27 minutes after. Tom Trento, your host. Enemies of the State. We're on WSBR Radio 740
And here's the
AM. Broadcasting out of Boca Raton and on theunitedwest.org. Go there or go to teapartycommunity.com to watch our show. We're going to play the clip that Beck talks to Grover over this. Listen to this.
In 2000, late 2000, October or so, gave this speech at a rally and said that he supported Hamas and he supported
hold on just a second.
Hezbollah.
No, hold on just a second. At a rally sponsored by you.
Oh, okay. I know what the concern is. No. There was an intern. This was written up in Insight at the time, afterwards, because somebody had said so. We had an intern who had said that was okay. He was told that's not okay. And there was no money involved. He just, I guess, they got a bunch of people's names attached to some rally in opposition to the occupation of the West Bank.
Oh, so you didn't
It's not
sponsor that
something
at all.
the
That was an
Institute-
intern that made that mistake.
Yes, that's an intern who made that mistake.
All right, let's get Ryan's response. Now, I'm not an expert at reading body language, but when somebody's doing this, something's up. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm amazed he wasn't better prepared for that, and considering that these documents came from his own website, which, by the way, if this was a big
hang on,
error,
Mark, hang on.
they would have deleted it. You know.
No, go ahead, Ryan. Let's go to Ryan. Let him explain this.
I don't know if I just got cut off, but I was trying to.
There you are.
Yeah. Is that Grover, first of all, I'm amazed he didn't have a better response to this. But secondly, if that was the mistake of an intern, then you would have issued a corrective statement or you would have had it deleted from your website. But what we're seeing is not only in this specific incident was his organization involved, but they're involved in this broader coalition that very clearly resembles the coalition that you've been talking about this week that's going in and lobbying the politicians in D.C. So there's a direct line between what we're talking about that dates back to 2000, 2001, and what's happening today. It's the same people involved. And if you took Grover's name out of the Islamic Free Market Institute and you just remove that element, and people looked at their activity and their ties, they'd say, look, they're indistinguishable from CARE or these other Muslim Brotherhood groups. But because you put Grover's name on it, all of a sudden people start saying, oh, well, that can't be true.
And that's very important, ladies and gentlemen, because Grover Norquist has been in conservative Republican politics for 35 years. I used to attend meetings that he had 25, 30 years ago in Washington, D.C., and he was a good guy. He was an anti-tax guy. He was a solid conservative. Somewhere, and we've delineated this in our series, he went off the rails, got involved in Islamic influence to a huge degree. We don't have time, Ryan, or our viewers, to go into all that, but I want to show the bottom part of that briefing paper. Mark, read the last paragraph. Ryan, look at the organizations that were involved 14 years ago, and look at the organizations that are involved today on Capitol Hill with Muslim Brotherhood Advocacy Day and Palestine Day. Check this out.
Now, it says the members of this coalition are the American Muslim Council in American Muslim Council, the Muslim Alliance, American Muslims for Jerusalem, the Council of American Islamic Relations, the Islamic Circle of North America, ICNA, the Islamic Institute, which
that's
is
that's
Grover's,
a buzzer warning.
yeah, the Islamic Society of North America, ISNA, the Muslim American Society, the Muslim Public Affairs Council, IMPAC, and also the Muslim MSA, the Muslim Students Association.
All right, Ryan, when you look at those organizations and you look at many of those same organizations are part of this U.S. U.S. Council on Muslim Organizations right there. Help our readers, our viewers and listeners understand the continuity over these 14 years of this Muslim Brotherhood influence operation going on today in Washington.
What you really need to understand, I think, is that names can be shed very quickly, and they are with the Muslim Brotherhood, that they set up tons and tons of groups, but it's the same people over and over again. And so when they operate, it sounds like, oh, there's 50 separate organizations all advocating a cause. It's really a small circle. And so the name of the coalition can change, but the members and the agenda remains the same. And that's exactly what you demonstrated. One quick fact I just need to throw out there is that Grover's organization, at the time all this was going on, specifically said that their goal was to influence policy that affects Muslims and to get Muslims that they partner with into political power. So when Grover says that he wasn't the guy making these relationships happen, well, his website said that he was. And one of the listed partners on his website, well, several of them were connected to the Brotherhood, but one, IIIT, is very well known as a Muslim Brotherhood front. The FBI had a spy within the Muslim Brotherhood in the 1980s that warned them, saying, look, they're setting up this group called IIIT. They're going to set up a whole bunch of different front organizations with all this money is going to be spread around. And their objective is to peacefully get inside the U.S. government. Then you have that same group, IIIT, that the FBI is warned about, teaming up on a basis with Norquist's group. And then what happens? They influence the politics and get inside the U.S. government, just like the FBI was warned.
And I want to make one other important point.
Real fast, because we're running out of time.
Well,
with Ryan
real
here.
important point is the meeting that we're talking about that they organized
Back then,
okay,
14
which is
years ago.
This is what was said at the thing, at the rally. Abdul Rahman
Oh, we probably should show them
that.
the video.
That's
what
what
we're
I'm talking about.
Check out what everything we've referred to for the past 20 minutes, folks. And let me give a little caveat before we do that. Somebody watching this for the first time may say, "Oh, you guys must hate Muslims." Let me lay this out very, very clearly. There's a distinction between a Muslim who has no interest in changing the United States government, no interest in jihad, no interest in dawah, no interest in the Sharia law, no interest in the caliphate, just want to be a Muslim and go play in the Muslim world and whatever. And to most Muslims, they're not real Muslims, but probably a majority of people around fall into that category. We're talking about operatives, like communist operatives that want to destroy this miserable house, their own language, from within. Somebody's got to stand and fight those folks. That's what we do. It isn't hate, it's love for America that motivates us to do this. Now, what meeting occurred that Beck is cross-examining Grover, that Ryan is implicating Grover, that we're implicating Grover? What meeting was so offensive and so egregious? Check it out.
Support this Hamas here? Anybody is a supporter of Hamas here? Anybody is a supporter of Hamas here? Hear that, Bill Clinton. We are all supporters of Hamas. Allahu Akbar. I wish they added that I'm also a supporter of Hezbollah. Anybody supports Hezbollah here?
Equal opportunity terrorist support.
Anybody supports Hezbollah here? Takbir!
Takbir, Ryan. Who is that guy? What is his relationship to Grover? And what the heck was going on in front of the White House?
That is Abdurrahman Alamoudi, who had ties to both political parties, but specifically gave a loan to help start Norquist Islamic Organization. There's a lot of crossover between his organization's operatives and then those of Norquist. Alamoudi's organization, although not Alamoudi himself, had many operatives and allies at the 9/11 meeting that we disclosed earlier. But really it all came to a head in 2000 with that video that you just showed where he explicitly said, I support Hamas and Hezbollah, which raises an interesting question. Grover said the reason that he formed this Islamic group was to fight radical Islam with a moderate Islam. Well, why is Alamoudi and the Muslim Brotherhood helping giving you a platform and want you to succeed if that's the case? It doesn't make sense. He also said that he probably didn't even know what the Muslim Brotherhood was at that time. So how can you say I'm the guy to fight radical Islam if you don't know the first thing about radical Islam?
And at the same time, Suhail Khan is his best buddy, and Suhail Khan's parents helped form the Muslim Brotherhood here in the United States of America. So look, Grover's busted. We know it. Beck is getting on him heavily. We're getting on him again heavily. He needs to be thrown out of Washington, D.C. He needs
Zip tie!
the zip tie treatment is what Grover needs. He needs to be zipped up and taken out of Republican politics.
Hey.
We got one little serendipitous note that we'll introduce to you and leave you with what, Mark? What do you got?
I just want to make one other key important point is Alamoudi, who said we are Hamas, we are right, and that the Islamic Institute organized, planned, and Alamoudi, who was the co-founder of the Islamic Institute, actually ran the event.
He's the moderator of the event.
He's moderator and running the event.
Busted. You're busted, Grover. Pretty simple. See, we don't buy all this crap from these guys, all this smoke and mirrors. We know what's going on. We tell it straight, and now we got to do something about it. But here's a little thing for you to think about. In our research, we ran across something. You said earlier that Grover, and he said it on Beck's interview, that he kind of deferred to some intern that kind of put this whole thing together, right?
Right.
We think we know who the intern is. If you check the we don't have time now to go through all the information, but if you check the timeline, there was a person working at the Institute for the Islamic Free Market Institute, normally Islamic Institute, but the Islamic Free Market Institute, Grover's thing. There was an intern working there, and we think the intern eventually became the communications director. The communications director directs communications. That document was a communication to the press, to the world, as to what the Institute is doing. Do you know who the communications director for the Islamic Free Market Institute, Grover's organization, was back then?
I'm going to let you reveal it so that, but I have my suspicions.
Do we have a picture by any chance?
Right there. His wife.
Very attractive woman. That is Grover Norquist's wife. And they got married in 2005. So we're looking at 2000 right now. And he refers to an intern. And we're connecting the dots, saying it's a piece of communication. She eventually became the communications director. She may have been the intern or the communications director that had something to do with that. Therefore, if that's true, it's a theory, a hypothesis, then he didn't know his own wife was involved in putting this thing together. Now here's the serendipitous little point. We're going to ask you, national security expert Ryan Mauro, to decode the following information, okay? You ready?
Okay, go for it.
All right.
You getting a little nervous?
I'm always nervous when I'm talking.
We want you to look at five letters. Five letters.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask you to decode it. See what you come up with.
Okay.
Independent of us.
Independent of us.
I swear
Right
I
here,
did
right
not had nothing to do with Ryan and
Right
his
here.
decision right here.
Okay, here
Let's
we go.
put up those 5 letters.
Right there.
What is that right there? Whose name is that?
It's Sama, which is Hamas backwards, and the reason they chose that code word.
No.
No.
We already went over the fact that that was the code word in 1993.
He's trying to cheat.
What is the name of Grover's wife?
Sama. I'm protecting myself because I don't want to make it sound like I'm making an operational connection there, Tom. I'm not going to let you get me in trouble.
Sama is Hamas spelled backwards.
Get away from me.
We don't know what that means, but it may mean something in some universe. All right, Ryan Morrow, thank you very much for your great work.
Ryan.
Keep it
Thanks,
up.
right.
We shall be in touch.
Asamach aleichem, infidel.
Thank you.
Take it easy. That is bizarre.
That is bizarre.
That Grover's wife's name is Hamas spelled backwards, you know?
I got it.
Now, you could argue she had her name even before Hamas started, but I wonder. In any event.
I don't know. But you actually look, we're going to do a whole show on the familial ties of Grover Norquist.
Right.
And it is absolutely stunningly amazing. Not just his wife. I'm talking about the whole network that surrounds her sisters,
nephews, all kinds of stuff.
His brother-in-law, who's helped started the Islamic Institute, who's a complete total radical. I mean, just little
His niece that heads up an SJP
organization. It's
Maron
amazing.
to me.
I'd hate to go to Grover Norquist's family reunion. I'm telling you that much. If he is not, a Muslim Brotherhood operative, he's missing one heck of a chance.
Yeah, he really is, But folks, here's what we're doing. It's 42 minutes after the hour, 42 minutes after 4 o'clock here, the 14th of April, Tuesday, 2015, and it is Palestine Day in Washington, D.C. Now, this is the final part 5 of our 5-part series entitled Muslim Terrorists Lobby the 114th Congress. We're doing this expose to alert Americans to very aggressive, very subtly aggressive, figure that out, subtly aggressive influence operation in the United States Capitol. On day 1, we simply said that the U.S. Council on Muslim Organizations is made up of a bunch of people with terrorist ties. On day 2, part 2, we said, what do they want? Why are they in Washington? And remember, we delineated the fact that their prime purpose was to change federal law so that profiling is no longer a tool or a capability of the counterterrorism infrastructure in the United States of America. And we said that was simply a process to weakening American and Western investigation so that the propagation of Islamic Jihad in Israel can be more aggressive. All of this relates to Israel. That's the point. Very important point. You need to come with us next time.
It relates to the destruction of Israel, is what it relates to. It relates to the political pressure being applied by the Ummah.
Yep.
1.5 billion Muslims that have 56 countries in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the UN, the largest voting bloc at the United Nations. And
I don't want you to shut.
And the fact that you have 1.5 billion people trying to destroy a nation of 7.5 million with every ounce of power they have in doing it in the capital of the United States. You have a group of Jew-hating, Israeli-hating people trying to influence our Congress, the People's House, with the help of multiple Muslim Brotherhood organizations and one filthy piece of garbage named Grover Norquist.
Well,
Yes, that's the situation.
And I just
on,
wanna-
on date, what, Mark?
No, I just want to. I thought Ryan brought up a great point. Is that the same exact groups which Grover walked in front of the White House in 2000, that went on the doorstep and said, "Who here supports Hamas? Who here supports Hezbollah? We do, we do, we do." Who was the head of the organization? There is absolutely no difference from 15 years ago till today. And what's happening in Congress? I mean, it just amazingly, similar. And have we not learned anything?
Have we not learned anything? What do we do about it? And again, for if you're just joining us and you're only seeing part 5 of a 5-part series, the title of the series, Muslim Terrorists Lobby the 114th Congress. That's the name of the Congress that's seated right now. Day 1, we looked at this organization, U.S. Council on Muslim Organizations, said, whoa, that's the Muslim Brotherhood. Day 2, which was last Thursday, we asked the question, what do these guys want? And we said that they want to change the law and eventually destroy Israel. Day 3, last Friday, we said, what should the Congress do? And we told you that, we'll tell you that again. This is what the Congress should do. They should zip tie these guys, investigate them, deport them for enablers and conspiring. And many of them are unindicted co-conspirators right now. And then day 4, which was yesterday, Monday, the 13th, that was Muslim Brotherhood Advocacy Day. That's when they all went up to do the actual lobbying, and we identified, I think, 4 or 5 key Muslim Brotherhood leaders with absolute direct terrorism ties who are on Capitol Hill yesterday.
And they're on the board.
Oh, they're on the board right there. Look at that, the Great Wall of the West. We identified a bunch of these people. These are all members of the organizations that are up there.
They're all
right
terrorists.
Now. This is nuts.
These
are
are all the
terrorists.
board members.
You have an unindicted co-conspirator in 1993 World Trade Center
Let me get some of
bombing.
these guys right here.
You have
Imam Siraj Wahaj, who is a character witness for the blind sheik.
Also, you have Nihad Awad, a terrorist running a terrorist organization. You have every one of them on there.
And again, when we say terrorism, we're making the distinction between the Islamic State kinetic methodology of cutting off heads and using guns and bombs and suicide belts. That's the quick path, many believe, to establishing the caliphate. The slower, though more effective path is the cultural path. Both the Islamic State and CARE have the same objectives: the implementation of
Milestones.
Sharia law,
Well,
the dawah, all of this, and it's just methodologies, just style that's different.
Well, we're correct.
Hang on, and we believe that. What do you want?
No, what I'm saying is, providing material support, aid and material support to terrorism is not
illegal.
It's illegal. That's the reason they are terrorists, because they provide material and aid and support to terrorism.
FBI, what are you doing, guys? You're watching
Crickets. Well, that's exactly that's what the Thursday show is about. Is why they are there.
Right.
Why they are there. The 2009-2010 absolute neutering of the Department of Justice.
Who's
counterterrorism? What?
Whose Department of Justice?
The Obama holder DOJ was
Enablers
neutered.
of the Brotherhood.
Was
of course.
neutered
See how
by
this all
these
fits
same
together?
groups. Now, their stated goal, which we went over in the Thursday show, is to eliminate any, quote, remaining loopholes that allow the DOJ to go after real terrorists.
And on yesterday's show, we identified these guys. This is very important information, and America's going to have to rise up and reject Islamic Jihad in the United States, investigate these mosques that are pushing this agenda, and we know many, many, many of them. You can't look at a mosque as a religious institute like a Baha'i temple or a Jewish synagogue or a Christian church. Totally different. A mosque is a gathering place to implement and train people to do jihad, whether it's cultural or kinetic. If you're in an Islamic country, all the war planning are in mosques. They don't identify the sanctity of a democracy. They look at their facility built by Mohammed for the sake of jihad. Any place,
it's a military complex.
That's what it is.
And you ask
today, go ahead.
And you ask yourself the question: how do these guys get into these high positions?
How does this happen?
How does that? Well, I don't know. Maybe and I'm not implicating
You
this.
get a guy
Hold-
who's got tremendous power on K Street,
Right.
Grover, and you walk them in over 15 years. That's
Now, I'm not implicating this man, but, who is the chief financial officer for the Department of Homeland Security? Grover Norquist, brother, David. You get all these familial influences in these things, and all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of Muslim, and all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of Muslim dirtbags in high positions of power. The coincidences just don't add up.
And many of these people you see here, like Meeks, is it Meeks down there?
Yes.
Khalil Meek.
We've confronted him in a mosque in California. We've confronted Hatem Bazium and Siraj. I mean, many of these people we've personally confronted with the camera or speaking, and we know where they're coming from. We've spoken to their friends. We've gotten a lot of information on. But let me get back to today's show because we're fighting the clock now. It's been a phenomenal series. We want you to look at all 5 parts. And we are going to, we've done a lot of shooting over the past couple of days, a lot of videotaping throughout Washington, D.C. We're going to compile a documentary of Muslim terrorist lobby, the 114th Congress. We're going to tell the story. We're going to look at exactly what took place, and then we're going to have action steps for all serious, patriotic Americans.
Right.
Zip
Because
ties.
You win at the ballot box. These guys know it. They're trying to influence voters. We know it. We're trying to influence voters. You got to look at the agenda for each side, see which one most judiciously and most explicitly is rooted in the United States Constitution or the Sharia.
And also,
figure that out.
One of the action steps that we've been talking about too is in one of our past shows, can't remember which one it was, where we talked about we need to get legislation passed designating Muslim.
That was Friday's show.
That was Friday's.
We said, what should the U.S. Congress do
Right.
when these guys come in? What was it? What was our point?
There's legislation already been drafted up, already been, all it needs is a sponsor and get it, it's ready to go to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a designated terrorist organization specifically. Even though they're supplying money to it, we all know it, to make it a lot easier for DOJ, everybody in law enforcement to say, if you're a Muslim Brotherhood group, you are a terrorist group. And once you have that document in your hand, all these other groups can be carted away. I mean, this is how you zip tie
Because
these
the
guys.
evidence
This
there
is
connected
this
to the
is
brothers.
the fox guarding the hen house.
It really is.
Okay. All right. Now, for the few remaining moments we have, we want to look at Palestine Day, which is what today's all about in the U.S. Congress. And that came about very, very quickly. You see, the USCMO, the U.S. Council on Muslim Organizations, made up of an affiliation of about 10 or 15 different Muslim Brotherhood groups. They had their advocacy day planned for the 13th. Then, sort of as an afterthought, somebody said, and they're all connected to each other, we got to do something about Palestine. The freaking Netanyahu just won again. The Jews are going nuts in Israel. They're building settlements all over the place. Al-Quds and this and that. We got to bring Palestine back to the table while a sympathetic president is still at 1600 Pennsylvania.
Right.
So they put together Palestine Day. Do we have some of the stars of the AMP, American Muslims for Palestine? Do we have some of the individuals that
Yep.
we can take
Give
a
us a
quick
second.
look at to show you who these guys and these ladies are?
Yep.
Let's throw up
just an
Hatem Bazium.
article on them. American Muslims for Palestine takes aim at
got it.
high schools.
Go ahead. Well,
Here we go. Here's one right here. Bring them up.
Okay, we'll do it. Go ahead.
We have Tahir Herzala, campus coordinator for AMP, American Muslims for Palestine. The guy is an absolute anti-Semitic animal, Israel-hating, anti-Semitic animal. Was part of the Irvine 11 that shouted down the at the time Israeli ambassador to the United States, Michael Oren. The guy is about a half of an inch away from strapping on a suicide bomb
Absolutely.
and blowing up a pack of Jews.
He's a loose cannon, this guy, for
Okay,
sure.
Tahir Herzala, absolute animal
You
monster.
may have an ADL. There was an ADL report that I sent in, which really takes this. We don't have time to do it now, but we're going to go through each of these guys. These are Jew-hating, like you can't believe, operatives, Muslim Brotherhood connections, working now in the United States of America. Who's the leader of? Who founded the American Muslims for Palestine.
Hatem
Hatem
Bazian.
We have his picture up there. Now, we have confronted him in California on various occasions. He came over. He was born in Palestine, wherever that is. He was born in the West Bank, I think. Came over, went to school here, went eventually to Berkeley, did a lot of work at Berkeley, got his PhD there, teaches now at Berkeley, Islamic studies and all that nonsense. He's been behind every Jew-hating campaign over the past 20 years, and he'll tell you, Israel's got to go. That's Islamic land.
No.
Let's bring the lady up, Karen Zeminski. I think her name is.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, but I just want to clarify what we mean by
We got about 2 minutes left.
what we mean by Jew hating. We're talking
Jews.
Nazi-style, genocidal hating Jews. I'm not talking about just like KKK version. I'm talking about genocidal hatred of Jews. Eradicate the state of Israel. Eradicate all Jews from the face of the earth.
Yeah, this is what they believe. Now, do they go around preaching this stuff publicly? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what they do, and they've been busted for those sort of things. Then they walk them back. Like Al-Amoudi, you saw him praising Hamas and Hezbollah. Well, when he was confronted with that, he goes, in a moment of passion, I said stuff I shouldn't have said. The guy's in jail right now for supporting these organizations and for terrorism.
We got to bring that up.
Yeah, here's the lady.
Yeah, Al-Amoudi's in jail for 23 years.
Kristen Zremski. She was born into some sort of, she was a Missouri Synod Lutheran at birth, converted to Catholicism, and then converted to Islam and started hating Jews as much as Hatem Bazian and Tahir Herzala.
Oh, this lady's a whack job.
Wacko.
Really, I've watched video of her, and darn, I wanted to call these people up today. We'll have to do that. We'll have to have a special AMP, American Muslims for Palestine show, because we just came back from Palestine, and it looks like Israel to me.
Yeah.
But in any event, these are dangerous people. They're in the United States of America, and it's very, very important, because if you follow this 5-part series and you follow our work, you will get internally very agitated and aggravated. It's critically important that that gets funneled properly and professionally. We are opposed to any form of violence, any form of desecration of Islamic stuff. We're opposed to all of that. That's short-term nonsense. It has no strategic value, no tactical value. It's dumb activism. We are proponents of smart activism. When you know, you stand on the truth. And I'm a Christian apologist. I will debate any Muslim worldwide on the truthfulness of Islam versus the truthfulness of Christianity. And I will show you that Islam is not true. It's a phony baloney religion. And when you build a body politic on a phony baloney religion, you get the insanity that's going on around the world right now, where Shia Muslims who say we're right cut the throats of Sunni Muslims and want to kill Jews and Christians. And what kind of religion is that? That's the insanity of it. But we are saying smart activism is political activism, is communication activism, personal activism. If you want to do something and you want to get involved after watching this 5-part series and being offended by what's taking place in the United States Congress, contact us. Contact Tom at theunitedwest.org. We're organizing people all over the country to take this agitation, this angst, this agita for you Italian people out there, and channel it in a constructive, not destructive way, so that we can rebuild America to be, once again, that bright and shining light. And maybe even Muslim people will see, you know what? My stuff is crap.
Right.
Let me take a look at true Americanism, because that's where the answer is, ladies and gentlemen. We've got about a minute left. Your thoughts, gentlemen, on our series.
Right now, as we speak, there are terrorists roaming the halls of Congress, lobbying our congressmen and senators and everybody to support terrorism. Hamas, for support of Hamas, for support of Hezbollah, and lobbying for the destruction of Israel and a genocidal destruction of Jewish people worldwide. How about we put a stop to that?
Contact us, and we'll show you how to do it. We have about 573 days left until November 8th, 2016, critically important day in Western civilization. Damon, Any final thoughts? We got about 15
Well,
seconds.
it's just absolute proof that the world is upside down and inside out when we have actual proven terrorists in the halls of Congress trying to put an end to the only democracy and true have in Israel. It's a very sad day for America, and go get some more zip ties.
More zip
More
ties.
zip ties.
More zip ties. More zip ties. On that happy note, we'll see you tomorrow.